Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about the new class Painter, which comes with AION patch 7.0. I'm currently on the Korean live servers. They got this patch recently, a couple of weeks ago, and I want to make a full review of the class. I got to endgame, I got to do some PvP, some PvE, and I want to talk about it. I want to give you guys all the details about this class, yeah? Cool. Before I get going, guys, can I just remind you that I'm streaming on Twitch. My Twitch is twitch.tv/Saivosan. I would really appreciate it if some of you that don't know, or even if you do know, to come over to my Twitch page, drop me a follow there so you know when I get live. Come over when I stream, drop me a couple of kappas in the chat. Cool. That being out of the way, guys, let's get going into this class. I absolutely love it. And I love it because of the combat, and I also love it because of the way it changes the game. Basically, this class brings at least 3, if not more, brand new, absolutely never seen before systems to AION as a game. First of all, it wears cloth gear, so it's a light wearer with physical attack stats. It is a physical DPS class. The range is a medium range. It's about 15 meters at max, if not melee. So you're not gonna have 25 meters like a sorcerer bard cleric, and you're not gonna be melee like I don't know, an assassin gladiator or whatever. The weapon that they wear is this translated into spray can. When it's holstered, it looks kind of like this, and then when you see it, this is how it looks. Yeah, basically some gauntlets that have some empty circles from which paint comes out. Yeah, cool. This weapon is a two-hander, so combination is definitely needed. In terms of I don't know, I'm thinking extendable. Sure, why not? You know, just increase the range from 15 to 18 meters. Just saying, pretty cool stuff. Other than that, guys, physical stats all the way because it is a physical DPS class. This class, the first thing that this class brings brand new to AION is obviously a new type of light gear, a new type of gear that can drop during your, I don't know, Promethean runs, a new type of gear that can be crafted by you, which is the light gear with physical stats. Pretty cool thing. However, I personally didn't really see the point in having a brand new type of gear just for this particular class, because obviously there's plenty and they don't drop anyway in terms of PvE and also in terms of crafting. The more types, the more different types of sets there are available to craft, the fewer chance there is that someone's gonna craft the type of set and the type of piece that you want, right? So it just not complicates, but it just throws more diversity in the game, and diversity normally is good. However, maybe this time it was not necessarily called for, but I don't mind it. I appreciate it. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, cool. In terms of other things, guys, that it brings to the table, skills that are absolutely genius. For example, this skill right here, guys, this is a tether skill. The class is based a lot on these tethering skills. They have quite many tethering skills as normal skills and also as stigmas. Even your vision stigma can be, for example, this skill right here. That is also a skill that immobilizes you and does AoE damage with a form of tether, and you just stand still there, right? This is definitely not for PvP, but I'm just saying, for PvE, this is another type of you know, stand still, do a tether and do something. Yeah, they have other tethers as well, like the this one right here, time strap. This is another tether that you can actually use, yeah, besides these two. And they have another stigma as a tether as well. Where is this tether? This one right here. Yeah, so a lot of tethers, and this skill mechanic is brand new to AION, and I absolutely love it. I love everything about this class, including these tethers. What I don't like, let's just get that out of the way. What I don't like, what I despise is these animations and these graphics, these paint splashes, these explosions of paint. This is absolutely horrendous. This is absolutely horrendous, yeah? This is the only thing I don't like, and I'm not gonna talk about it anymore because I've already said it in one of my previous videos, and I still don't like it, and I'm never gonna like it, and that's the only thing I don't like. In terms of other things like combat, mobility, what it brings to the table as a class, I simply appreciate and admire the work that has been put into this. Besides the tethers, guys, there's also skills like this one right here. Yeah, this is basically a second life for the class. I know that there is the cleric class, which also has a skill that if you drop under 25% or under 50%, it heals you up by some things. But this one is absolutely genius, because if instead of you dying, you have a skill that actually heals you, and you don't need to do anything about it. You just pop it and it is on you as a buff. So whether you're silenced, stunned at the moment of death, or like, you know, knocked down, or any other form of CC, if someone kills you, this skill is gonna proc. So very cool stuff in terms of this skill as well. This is again a brand new idea to AION. Instead of death, you just heal yourself up. Some skills are also can be improved by having a Derivanian version of it, including this one. I really like this. Other versions of this skill that heals you, the second life, is not basically a second life, it just heals you for 20k HP. Now if you're a painter at end game with 60k HP because you have full, you know, best gear, then definitely 20k HP is about 33% of your total HP pool, so it doesn't like heal you for full, right? But for example, look at this one. This is a 35k heal. You understand what I'm saying? This heal heals you even if you're fully decked out with gear. It heals you for more than half of your total HP. So the point is, it heals you for a lot. Pop a 20% pot from the cash shop on top of this, and there you go. Instead of dying, you're back at 70%, or maybe even more, 75, 80, depending how much HP you have in total. And, you know, other versions are available. It has a 10-minute cooldown, I get it. You can only use it once, maybe per runatorium. In terms of PvE, you can use it, I don't know, once in Makarna, once per every dungeon run, but it's still something. The last version of this Devanian skill is the 5-minute cooldown one. It heals you 20k, but there's a 5-minute cooldown on it, so that reduces the cooldown by half. Still pretty sweet. Other skills that can be glyphed with the Devanian is these straps. By the way, these straps do large amounts of damage, and the class in general does large amounts of damage in terms of PvE. I suppose that when the time comes to be released in Europe as well with 7.0, it's gonna definitely be in the top 3 DPSs in terms of PvE. In terms of PvP, it's gonna be super viable, either as a DPS, but remember it is a mid-range DPS, or as kind of an utility class, because if you take a look at this, I have this skill here that if I cast it as a utility painter, the ganker is petrified. During the petrification, everyone else can attack this ganker, right? So it's not like he's immune to anything. Yeah, his values are a little bit higher in terms of physical defense and magical defense. However, he is still attackable, and that is really, really different. That is really new in AION, never seen before. Like a CC, well, okay, you can attack through stun, but I'm just saying stun can be, you know what I'm saying, can be removed shock. If you play this wisely, the petrification is a petrification, and that's what it is. So I'm just seeing like a scenario when there's like a utility painter in the group for a 6-man PvP, and he just like constantly petrifies the cleric until the cleric is dead, or just petrifies this cleric for like the duration, which is quite long, as you see, until other people focus on other classes. Of course, this is considered as a cast. So if you pop a pot, then the cast is removed. If you get silenced, interrupted, stunned, etc., etc., the cast is removed. There's another petrification on the remove shock, for example, through which you can just attack, simple as that. So they have access to some cool things, yeah. I'm not saying the class is gonna be OP, because it's not gonna be OP. The class requires quite a lot of practice in order to learn exactly how to do right. It is a completely new class that doesn't play like other classes just because of the many straps, and just because of the mid-ranged, and just because it's clothed with physical stats, and it's also mid-range, a little bit more squishy because it doesn't have so much access to so many defensive cooldowns or cooldowns that prevented, let's say, complete damage. Because of that, it's gonna take some time. I don't think it's going to be as OP as the Bard was when it was released. Other than these skills, obviously, in terms of DP skills, you have 30 seconds of attack speed increased by 30%, and also crit strike by almost 2000, physical attack by almost 500. So that is a very good DP skill on a 1-minute cooldown. So you know, you enter with 4k, you pop a jelly, and then you pop a 2k jelly, and you already have this skill 2, 4, 5 times. You understand? So 5 times multiplied by 30 seconds, that is already 2.5 minutes of combat where you have 500 more attack, 2k more crit, and 30% more attack speed, just in case you're missing the red transformation. This is a really nice skill. Stuns the target for 10 seconds without dealing any damage. This is a 4k DP skill on a 10-minute cooldown. So, you know, this goes like you stun the target. Where's my target? You stun it, and then you're recalling. And that's it. He's stunned and you run away. That's one use for this skill. I'm joking, of course, but just saying, it is a pretty cool skill to use very, very occasionally. Not that impactful in my opinion. Yeah, cool. Other than that, one blink that can be used twice, nothing spectacular with the cast time at that, pretty annoying to cast. Rest is absolute paint, boys. It's a paint madness, and besides the skills that I showed you, besides the tethers, there is obviously a lot of paint to be had. Yeah, almost every other skill looks like something that you would throw out of a paint bucket. And that's about it in terms of skills. In terms of stigmas, guys, where is my stigmas? In terms of stigmas, they have this strap kind of build, and they also have the paint build, right? If you go for the strap build, you get this as a vision stigma. If you go for, I'm actually going to show you right away. If you go for the paint build, then you get the paint monster as a stigma build. I highly doubt that people are going to use this in PvP, but yeah, who knows? I might get surprised. This is the paint monster if you go for the other version. Yeah, cool. There is another stigma build which I cannot show you. Obviously there's 3 vision stigmas, right? I cannot show you because I don't have the stigmas, but all of the stigmas, you know, they just kind of, let's say, go towards one specific area. Yeah, in terms of green stigmas, you have some pretty nice green stigmas, like for example this one, 50% less damage for 8 seconds, increases binding resistance by 1k on a 1.5 minute cooldown. If enchanted, the cooldown goes away. The life strap, this is another very, very nice skill. Of course, works better in PvE than it works in PvP. That it's this bind, which the more damage you do, the more you heal. It heals 10% for my damage. So right now I should be healing 1.8k every single half a second when this skill pops. So it's a pretty cool skill, right? And of course, with petrification also comes skills that do more damage when to the target when it's petrified, like this one for example. Another very interesting skill, if I could go to a mob and show you, is a skill that kind of reminds me always that this class is a physical DPS class, because, you know, you think about it, it wears light, you automatically assume that it is actually a magical class, and you automatically assume that it plays a little bit like a caster, which it does play a little bit like the caster. All of these are actually casts. However, there are skills that kind of take your mind away in that sense. An ambush, 15 meters, and then after the ambush there's a powerful attack, and then after the attack there's a dash backwards. Yeah, kind of makes you think that, hey, this is actually kind of also physical, kind of also like a Sin, kind of also like a melee class. And that's everything I really wanted to say about this class, guys. I don't believe that when it comes out for us in the West it's going to be OP. I don't believe it's going to feel OP. Obviously, as you well know, guys, with gear everything is OP. So if you're gonna meet a painter with a lot of gear, then that painter is gonna feel very OP. But it's not necessarily because of the class. The class takes some time to learn. In terms of learning the class, I would actually put this class somewhere in the top half in terms of AION classes, how much time it needs to be learned fully, how much practice it needs to be done to do good in PvP and PvE and so on and so forth. So I approve this class. I don't think it has any skill that, oh my god, that class, I just cannot beat it. Yeah, it feels really good, but it takes some time to practice, even for the basics. Yeah, I highly recommend that you guys, when it comes out, would try it, because it is very interesting, at least as an alt, so you know how to counter it with your main. It is very pleasant to play, very interesting to play, a very nice experience, a completely new experience compared to every other class in current AION. Yeah, and that's about it, guys. I wish you a lot of love as always. I will see you soon, and thank you so much for watching.